Hello and welcome to the latest edition of our Sustainability Perspectives podcast, where as part of the virtual portion of the Sustainable Packaging Summit, we hear from a range of players from across the packaging value chain and experts to learn more about how they work and collaborate to tackle the sustainability challenges the world faces. So my name is Elisabeth Skoda. I'll be your host today. And for a bit of context, obviously, we often talk about how important collaboration is across the packaging value chain. And today, we're going to hear about an example of such a collaboration that has been tackling the challenge of boosting carton recycling and creating new products out of non-fiber solutions. And Tetra Pak, CPR System and Lucart have set up a partnership to create a pallet that incorporates secondary raw materials that derive from post-consumption processing of fully bonded materials that are used in drinks packaging, such as typically beverage cartons. And the result of this collaboration, the Noah pallet, has been successfully used by major retailers such as COOP. And to discuss this collaboration and also the wider topics of material circularity and embedding circular processes in the packaging value chain, I'm very pleased to welcome my three guests today who will be able to give us a true cross-value chain perspective. I'm very excited to welcome Francesca Priora, who is VP for Climate and Nature at Tetra Pak. We also have Chiara Faenza, who is Sustainability Manager at COOP Italy, and she's also Vice President at Istituto Italiano Imballaggio. And last but not least, we also have Melissa Manfredini, who is Project Portfolio and Sustainability Reporting Manager at CPR System. I'm really pleased to welcome you all three to the podcast for today, and thank you very much for joining us. So, to get us started, it'd be great if you could all introduce yourselves and tell me a little bit more about the work you do at your companies. Maybe let's start with you, Melissa.
Yes. First of all, thank you for the invitation. As you said, I'm Melissa Manfredini. In CPR Group, I'm the Sustainability Reporting and Project Portfolio Manager. CPR System, which is basically the head company of the group, was born from an idea a lot of years ago, from an idea by fruit and vegetable producers to form a cooperative system of companies with the aim of generating efficiency and an economic and environmental value to be shared really across all the supply chain. The company today counts over 1,000 partners. They are between agricultural businesses, retailers, and service and transport companies. Our solutions have been always and still be really constantly evolving because the company really believes in the possibility for continuous improvement and also in the power of innovation to drive this transition to a circular economy. So CPR System now is leader in Italy, not only for the pooling of packaging, but also for the production and recycling of plastic foldable crates and pallets. So circular economy practices are embedded in our specific business model, as well as when producing and transport packaging, because all our crates are produced with the specific percentage of secondary raw materials deriving from broken or out of specification crates. So we really found the key to close the entire loop.
And I look forward to hearing more about that during the course of the podcast. Chiara, could you also tell us a bit more about yourself and the work you do?
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much also from my side for the invitation. First of all, I would like to introduce who COOP is. COOP is one of the main Italian cooperative retailer, and its history dates back to 1854. It's one of the main company and is constituted by 75 cooperatives, of which 10 big cooperatives representing approximately 98% of total sales. Our core is our social base, and this is the different elements comparing the other retailer, because it's composed by 6.2 million members, and we are distributed in 80 regions in Italy with more than 2,200 stores, more or less. Over the decades, COOP has grown into a significant player in the retail industry, but it has always maintained its DNA in cooperative principles, transparency, fairness, responsibility towards society, people, and the environment, because these are a basic part of our DNA. Our focus is the social and environmental sustainability, of course, but also fundamental for us is the economical sustainability of the different activities. COOP actions to promote social and environmental sustainability started many years ago. The actions have always existed, and I want to give you just some example to have the right perception. In 1997, we launched the Waste and Packaging campaign, focused on the importance of a correct collection for packaging waste. More recently, for example, in 2018, the campaign COOP for Environment, and this one relaunched and updated the COOP's commitment to environmental sustainability with a special focus on packaging and materials. Another example is that we joined the EU pledging campaign, so the European pledging campaign related to the EU plastic strategy. And also we joined the Circular Plastic Alliance declaration. Today, COOP continues to be a leader in sustainability with particular attention on the circular economy and the reduction of environmental impact throughout the whole supply chain, especially for private label products, but not only. We have made significant strides in the area of circularity, recognizing that a sustainable future requires not only reducing waste, of course, but also finding ways to reuse and recycle materials.
Great, thank you, Chiara. And Francesca, last but not least, could you also introduce yourself and maybe talk a bit more about Tetra Pak?
Yes, with pleasure, Elisabeth. So my name is Francesca Priora. I'm, as you said, the Vice President today for Climate and Nature Programs in Tetra Pak. Tetra Pak comes as the carton on the breakfast table. So many of the consumers, many of the citizens know us. Allow me to add a little bit more. Tetra Pak goes beyond that because we are leading company in food processing, and our commitment is very clear: is making food safe and available everywhere. Very bold commitment, and our full strategy always stick very close to that. What it means, we work very closely, across the full value chain, as we have a privileged position in the middle, so with customers, with suppliers. And by doing so, Tetra Pak is providing safe, innovative, and environmentally sound products that are meeting the needs of hundreds of millions of people across the world, more than 160 countries. So, as we can say, differently to the common belief, which is a natural belief, we are more than just a packaging company. Integration is the word, given that we deliver end-to-end solutions to food and beverage customers. We all know our favorite brands across all the categories of milk, juices, tomato, wines, and other processing and packaging categories. And we support our customers also on the services part. The strength that we do have is really to leverage on an holistic approach, starting with the end consumer, delivering full solutions. So really building on the full concept of the food from the recipe testing, product formulation, and also more the industrial part, so the processing and the packaging solutions. Now, allow me to move into the sustainability and climate arena, which is the one I belong to, because on one side, climate awareness is greatly increased. We can see it in the newspapers, in all the events, and really goes across the full value chain. Many still fail to understand how this is closely connected to food security, food waste, circularity, as Chiara was just mentioning. So allow me to bring a couple of reflections. We know, and we will never stop repeating that, food systems alone contribute 1/3 of global greenhouse gas emission, which is, an amazing share of the full carbon footprint and contribution. Yet a similar amount of food is lost or wasted. Meeting the 60% increase in food demand by 2050, because we see the demographic trends, is putting a certain focus on the resilience of the ecosystems, on the emissions related to that, and therefore also the role that packaging has to prevent a negative trend from an emission perspective. So what we need is an integrated view, integrated solutions to redesign the whole food systems, optimizing the solutions to produce, process, package, and distribute the food. And I think that our panel today is a fantastic representation of that integration. So to close my introduction, packaging is one aspect of this chain, and it's clear and evident that it requires a deep transformation. In Tetra Pak, what we are doing is really driving circular solutions. How? By designing first recyclable packaging, second simplifying the structure of the cartons, and using recycled and renewable materials. That comes with a strong infrastructure. So we are actively present in collection and recycling projects to avoid really materials to end up in landfill or incineration. And, which is the topic of our today time, enabling that those materials, when recycled, get into new applications again.
Thank you, Francesca. Some very valid points there. And I'd like to dive straight into finding out a bit more about the collaboration, obviously, which was set up to address the challenge to advance carton recycling and create a new solution for the non-fiber components of beverage cartons. I was keen to find out a bit more about what inspired this partnership and the steps you took to set this up. Maybe starting with you, Francesca.
Yes, absolutely. So, first of all, what is the carton recycling landscape today? If we look at the world, is highly mixed. And why? Because in the different countries, or even on a macroscopical level of the regions, the infrastructure is highly diverse from a waste management perspective. So, regardless, all components of our paper-based packaging can be recycled into new materials for new products where, and that's the important point, the collection, sorting, and recycling infrastructure is in place. So to improve this infrastructure, a systemic change is needed. So we said ecosystem solutions, integration within the full recycling value chain. And how is that possible? With collective actions and with a multi-stakeholders approach from industry, for example, us as converters, together with the recycling value chain, but also the governments and the consumers, because each of those play a necessary role to make the waste management working and delivering against circularity. So what are these critical roles? Producers to put recyclable packaging into the market. So based on the principle of the circularity by design. Governments to put policies, legislations in place to set the right rules for collection and recycling, be the booster of that to happen. Local authorities and industry to establish the infrastructure on the ground, the bin system that you know, for example. industry to have the most innovative and efficient recycling solutions. Let's think about the big paper mills, in our case, or the plastic recyclers that are regenerating the so-called polyal. And not last, all the actions start with the consumers. So the consumers, by separating the wasted source, is purifying the stream really from the moment any material, being a package, for example, gets into the opportunity of becoming a waste or a material entering into a new production system. Examples, and allow me to link to the panel today. Lucard, that is one of the leading player in the recycling arena in Europe, really becoming across, the paper recycling industry, one of the biggest groups, started really developing around this journey many years ago. Initially as a paper manufacturing company, providing very strong in the category of hygiene products in home, hospitals, restaurants, and more. And more recently, in the past years, as an integrated player. So look at the head, the visionary approach of transforming a valuable secondary material from their paper production into new materials to be applied in products, and we will see some cases. What happened? The company, being so visionary, shared this ambition with Tetra Pak to make all their materials entering their facilities real in terms of circular economy and getting into new lives. And we started our partnership back in 2010. And together we are really working closely to develop new uses for any material from beverage carton recycling entering into their facilities. A part of these materials is the so-called polyal. What is the polyal? The polyal is the plastic, most of it plastic residue that is coming from the beverage cartons recycling process. Look at the fantastic site in Tuscany where the first tests were made, and in few years a new line was installed by Lucard in that facility to properly recycle all the polyal that was coming from the beverage carton recycling. Lucard is a multiplier of synergies, so joined the forces with the CPR system, today represented with Melissa, that is one of the biggest players, if not the biggest, in retailer logistics. And in 2019, Newpal was born. Newpal is this fantastic company that is dedicated to pioneering the production of returnable pallets made with the polyal, as I explained. So by doing this way, what happens? That the potential challenge, so residual material out of the production process, turns into an industrial market opportunity.
And Melissa, would you like to give your perspective on the partnership as well?
Yes, of course. Well, we can say that like many of the greatest innovations, also this started really in an unexpected and unpredictable way, at least from the side of CPR, because we were already connected with Lucard, and getting to know each other through time, we understood that we have this similar DNA based on the values on sustainability and innovation. And as Francesca just explained, Lucard wanted to find more application markets for its polyal material. And by then, CPR system was looking for a pallet made of plastic to be used in our pooling system. In addition, approximately in the same moment, we find out that a new technology to process the polyal material and to produce new products was available. So Newpal this company, born between CPR system and local partnership, decided to invest in this high technology plant. And in this plant, with a low pressure injection process, we manufacture pallets by combining polyol from recycled cartons, beverage cartons, with other secondary raw materials to give more strength and to get better performances of the pallets. All the machines present are electronically and controlled. This guarantees to excellent performances in terms of product homogeneity and also productivity, which is very important in this new technology. The pallet we produce is called Noé, and this is the name we have chosen as a symbol of renewal and innovation. We can really say that on the market there is no other pallet like the Noé pallet, but also there is no another technology like this. Our plant is one of the only 3 existing plants like this in the world. Using this type of technology, we say always that we are building new know-how and facing what really innovation is every day. Of course, this innovative venture aims us to replace all wooden pallets with Noé ones in our circuit first, offering a sustainable and durable solution to managing polyol rejects with a large-scale application. This is one of the biggest points important for all the part of the chain, of course. So
Great. So yeah, leading on from that, Melissa, I wanted to ask you what makes the Noé pallet different to other pallets that are out there, both wood and plastics that are available on the market.
we can say key benefits offered by Noé pallet are a lot. But first of all, as we said, the saving of virgin resources, because it is made really from only recycled post-consumption and post-production materials. Specifically, if we zoom on the post-consumption materials, these are derived from the processing of the non-fiber company for drink packaging, as we said. Then this pallet is durable and efficient for logistics systems with a significant maximum operating load, which is very important for the final users. And also one of the big innovation of the Noé pallet is that it's equipped with the Choose Smart label, where there are 2 tag RFID, a barcode, and data matrix. So this allows all the parts of the system to trace the pallet, and in the future, also the products that will be on the pallet. Then thinking about the maintenance of the pallet, it is washable, it is sanitizable, and it's rust-proof. And these are all very important topics when you talk about food industry, of course, but not only. And wearing the shoes of the users, we need to remember that Noé pallet has also a stable tear for nature. And this is very important compared, for example, to the wood pallets, because wood pallets are influenced by humidity grade and the presence of water. And then this is very important for us, last but really not least, Noé pallet is yes, reusable, but it's also recyclable. So at the end of its life cycle, all the Noé pallets that get broken or out of specification for any reasons are connected to specialized centers and processes to produce new secondary raw material, which is then used in the production of new ones. So this applies also to all the waste that is generated in the production process, And this really means that we have a completely circular system.
Thank you, Melissa. And yeah, you've listed a lot of advantages. And that leads me to a question for you, Chiara. Why did COOP choose the Noe palette? And how does this align with the company's ambitions about circularity?
Yes, mine is certainly a based opinion, being responsible for the sustainability area in COOP Italy, but also being vice president of the Italian Packaging Institute. Therefore, having sustainability, circularity, and packaging in my heart. And I will answer firstly to the second question. COOP's commitment to the circular economy is evident in the effort to optimize resources, reduce the use of non-renewable materials, and ensure that products at the end of their life cycle can be recycled or repurposed. One of COOP's key focuses is on packaging. We have been actively working on reducing the use of packaging material, choosing innovative solutions that are both functional and environmental friendly. We adopted several strategies to reduce packaging waste, such as using, for example, recyclable and compostable materials, eliminating excessive packaging, and promoting the use of reusable options. Some numbers for recycled plastic, for example. In 6 years, COOP has used 21,000 tons of recycled plastic in the packaging of private label products. And this claim was verified according to the technical standards. But this approach is extended also to the other material. And to specifically answer the question on why we have chosen the Noe palette and how does this align with our approach to circularity, I can say that a focal point for us is the involvement, first of all, of the different stakeholders across the whole supply chain, because these issues have a high level of complexity and every single actor counts. Our role is to promote collaboration also along the supply chain, but also play an active role in the B2B level, but also at the B2C level, because to inform and educate consumer is a very important topic and necessary to help the consumer to increase their awareness. We have a recent example using a logo by COOP, in Italian "Tocchi si rivede," that sounds as "look who's back," which follow precise rules for its application. I mean, to carry such logo, a product needs to feature a percentage of recycled material greater than 70%. Furthermore, as mentioned, collaboration with the interested parties is fundamental to achieve the circularity on a large scale. A basic point is to create a robust system for collecting, treating, and transforming waste material into useful products like Noe pallets. Last but not least, another important element is the investment in technology and innovation to move even further towards a circular economy. And this palette fully represents the application of this approach and is a winning example that is possible to have an innovative and successful material circularity cases that overcome the primary function specific packaging is made for, turning them into secondary raw materials, and with this, creating a product that is itself recyclable and at the end of its life. To conclude this point, I want to mention that the Noe palette is also the result of an Italian industrial invention patent, and this is a focal point. As COOP, we consider this type of palette a very, very interesting solution. As also Melissa told, after an initial testing phase from the beginning of July 2023, the Noe palette was included in the circuit, and we approximately used it in 2023 62,000 Noe pallets that correspond to 2.6% of the total amount of pallets used by COOP. And the number quickly increased in 2024 because the number became 10 times higher, approximately 695,000 Noe pallets, corresponding to 31% of the total amount of pallets used by COOP.
Yes, that's certainly impressive. So, yeah, now I'd like to zoom out a little bit and talk about the principle of material circularity a bit in broader terms. What actually is it, and how can it be boosted from your company's place in the value chain? Yeah, maybe you'd like to start, Francesca.
Yes, Elisabeth, let's start looking at the size of the problem. What are we talking about? Since 2015, the global economy has consumed 70% more new materials than the planet can safely replenish. Yet more than 90% of all materials extracted are wasted. So if you combine those two figures and you add that only approximately 9%, if not less, are being repurposed in the new economy, there is a huge journey to take. And we tend to look at that journey, being in the front line of sustainability actions, as a big opportunity for industry. So, how to look at solutions to make circularity a reality, and how to turn waste challenges across our value chain to turn those into new materials. Our approach to the partnership is really here concrete with the panel of colleagues that we have. So look at the packaging on one side as the food protection and availability, and on the other side having the packaging that is designed and welcome in an existing infrastructure to turn into new materials. If we look at the European scenario, we have, for example, 40% of plastics and 50% of the paper used today in Europe, which is dedicated for packaging production. And it accounts approximately around 36% of municipal solid waste. So packaging is delivering food with the most efficient systems to prevent food waste, which is the other big topic and issue that we have mentioned, and offering to the market materials that are ready for companies like CPR System and Newpal to turn into new products ready, for example, the logistics part. How to reduce the impact while investing into circular solutions. So in Tetra Pak, we take our part. And how we do it? We are committing to invest 100 million euro per year over the next 5 to 10 years, so a long journey, to design packaging against the simple principles, simplify the material structure, and increase the paper content. And by doing that, make the beverage cartons more appealing to recyclers. At the same time, circularity at scale, what it means that we commit and we are already investing up to 40 million euro every year in boosting the collection, sorting, and recycling infrastructure. So, as part of this long-standing and very bold, serious commitment, we are also focusing on expanding in market. We cannot leave recycling and developing alone, but we are looking at find partners more and more to turn the recycled materials into self-sustaining, from a business perspective, applications.
And I understand that in order to achieve circularity at scale, a lot of factors have to play together. And Chiara, I wanted to ask you, could you outline the most important ones for us?
Yes, of course. We share that Noe pallets represent an innovative approach to sustainability. This initiative represents an important and significant step towards strengthening the circular economy in the logistic and packaging sector. According to us at COOP, to achieve a larger scale circularity through projects such as Noe Pallets, is necessary to focus on several key factors. The first one, sourcing and recycling of materials in terms of quantity. This is one of the most important factors because the sourcing and recycling of material in terms of quantity and usable material is the base. Recycled used beverage cartons, such as the ones from Tetra Pak, for example, therefore become a valuable resource as a source of secondary raw material, and for this reason it is important to collect in proper quantities. Another critical important factor to ensure the scalability, larger scale circularity, is product durability and performance. This pallet, but nevertheless the result of similar design, meets the high standards required in the logistic and retail sector, which include strength, stability, the ability to handle heavy loads efficiently. And it's necessary that this same performance as the alternative is guaranteed. Innovation in material design and engineering play a critical role in creating durable products that can replace less sustainable options without compromising at the same time quality and functionality. Another point is the ability to produce this pallet in large quantities while maintaining defined quality and sustainability standards. It's important to create efficient production processes capable of managing large volumes of recycled materials and meeting market demands, so the input and the output. Creating reliable and scalable production facilities, as well as ensuring consistency in the recycling material supply chain, is essential to ensuring the project is scalable. Furthermore, as mentioned before, collaboration with interested parties is certainly fundamental to achieving large-scale circularity. Consumer awareness and participation is a basic point to achieve the broader objectives of the circular economy. It's very important to educate consumers and businesses on the importance of recycling and circular practices, encouraging the return of used pallets for reuse or recycling, as well as supporting initiatives to increase the availability of recycling materials, play a vital role in ensuring the long-term success of the project. We have the last 2 points, so data tracking and transparency, that are essential to measure the impact of the project and to ensure continuous improvement, of course. And last but not least, the economic sustainability of the project. Because in addition to environmental and social aspect, it's necessary to evaluate the economical part and implement the project so that there is economic sustainability even by scaling the project itself without having significant impact on the entire supply chain.
Yes, thank you, Chiara. Building on what Francesca and Chiara just said, how does the Noe Pallet project fit in with that, Melissa?
Yes. Basically, with the Noe Pallet project, of course, we have been able to capture an untapped circular business opportunities. And we also have been able to satisfy all the market and the users' requirements, as well explained by Chiara. But what is really great is that we did it through a partnership and for other partnership, because I think when we look for reducing emissions and transitioning to circular economy, there are so many aspects to be considered that we really cannot be alone in this path. We need to focus on collaboration, because what is waste for me could have value for you, and so on. And I think the panel of today really is the perfect representation of this. So to realize true circularity, we need to cover all the parts of the chain. And with Newpol and the Noe palette, we are really doing it every day. We take something that is waste and give it a new application. And the product that we make will potentially never produce rejects again, because it will be reused at the end of its life to produce other ones, and so on, because it doesn't lose performances by doing this. So, but also equally important, by doing this, we are offering the supply chain a more environmentally sound way to transport goods. So we are giving value to all the parts of the supply chain.
I wanted to look a bit at the end of life as well of the palette and all various other products. What markets conditions will help drive circularity at a product's end of life? Maybe a question for all of you, maybe starting with you again, Francesca.
Yes, I mean, the market conditions are certainly a necessary part, super important to make the whole system working. Let's look at the beverage cartons and be more specific. The fiber extracted from the paperboard is already highly reused into new product. We all see on the shelves boxes made of cardboard, tissue paper, office paper. Okay, so the paper part over the years was developing a super strong, self-sustaining recycling application supported with very good market conditions. Therefore, the developing market for the recycled polyol, that's where is catching our attention and support in manufacturing high quality product. So super important to think about applications that are not niche, that in some cases do have high cost or high value, but the most important criteria is the high quality that is making the life cycle of those products self-sustaining, financially attractive long term. So this initiative for us, Tetra Pak, CPR system, and Lookout is the right example, is one of the best examples on how working together at the scale, so volumes-wise, with the right innovation, is allowing the generation of valuable new products that are finding a very good market response by the development and by the itself characteristics.
Thank you. And Melissa, would you like to add anything to this point?
Yes, thank you. Well, as Francesca said, of course, we need to find application space for the product made with secondary raw materials. And also, we need to be sure that this need will cover the investment made. So as Newpol and CPR system too, we are in a strategic position in the chain, because on the one end, as packaging manufacturers, we have the opportunity to be large-scale receivers of secondary raw materials like polyol. And at the same time, we supply our products, such as the Noe pallet, to logistic and transport players as a service. So let's say that these guys will always need the pallets and packaging in general. So what is important is to continue to look for increasingly sustainable ways to produce them, and eventually to evolve the related design and the commercial strategy accordingly to this aspect.
Yes, and Chiara, last but not least, you have something to add to this point as well.
Yes, I agree with the previous points. And I would add that from my point of view, a market condition that will help, that could help is consumer awareness, as I told before, about how to correctly collect packaging waste. This element should definitely not be underestimated, as it becomes, in fact, a binding element for the effective success of the project and the scalability. Consumer is a part of the circularity. both with these current materials, but also by expanding in the future the possible raw materials to be used also in relation to technological evolution to others. And I want to add also that the regulatory evolution, and I'm referring in the specific case to the next PPWR, that will certainly give a further boost in the direction of the circular economy, certainly bringing important impacts, big impacts on the supply chain and on the market.
Thank you. And yeah, obviously we have listeners from across all the packaging value chain on our podcast. And to wrap up our conversation, I'd like to gain your insights. From your experience, how can we embed circular processes into the value chain? And also, how can we accelerate the adoption of these circular processes, and what is needed to make them work? Let's start with you again, Francesca.
Time to wrap up, and so I focus on the keyword that I'll bring back with me after this very interesting and insightful conversation today. Systemic change, integration. So Elisabeth, what we have been exploring together with Melissa and Chiara is really the fact that solutions comes if addressed in an inclusive business environment across the value chain. So collective actions and multi-pronged, we said before, solutions, so products with recycled material should be self-sustaining long-term. And that requires that the industry, the recycling value chain, so the recyclers, the government, and the consumers act together to the success of the circularity at scale. The challenge ahead is complex. It's clear, and that's probably what is making this journey super attractive and promising for the frontline companies that really takes sustainability as not only the license to operate, but on the contrary, the license to grow and to maintain a leading position. Every stakeholder, every step counts. This is clearer and clearer these days. And together, we are meeting our own sustainability ambitions and doubling, tripling really the value of the solutions then brought to the market and to the communities, which is then our ultimate vision.
Yes, and what do you think, Melissa?
Well, as a CPR system, we founded an entire logistics system based on the principle of a circular economy. So without going deeply in the details, but if you want to think about how the system of CPR works, you need to think about the circle. So our reusable crates, think that have an average life of about 7 years. And every year they are used for about 7 times. So we can just say that one reusable crate, CPR crate, compares to about 50 single-use one. This is the circular system applied to all the life cycle of the crates, but we wanted to do better and to do more. So since 2014, we have also included the end of life of the crates in our circular approach. So also has the pallet, when the crates get broken or damaged, CPR operators repair them if possible, because first we look for repairing, or if not possible, we send them to a recycling center where broken crates become new secondary raw material. This allows us to produce with about 80% of secondary raw material to produce crates. And with Newpal and the Noe pallet, we are applying this principle also in the pallet case. So as I said before, the aim is to replace all the wooden pallets in our circuit. So this means to make another piece of the chain being circular as well.
Thank you, Melissa. And last but not least, Chiara, do you have anything to add?
Yes, sure. Innovation, collaboration, and education, we have seen that are key elements for a more sustainable future. And this can help to reducing waste, optimizing resources, and promote circular practices. First of all, as I told before, full circularity can be achieved if there is an active and proactive participation. All of us confirmed this topic of the various stakeholder. But I mean not only producer, supplier, but also local government and not government organization, including also the consumer. And we would like to promote collaboration with the whole supply chain. Promoting this approach because is a very important topic for us. Consumer, I told in some previous answer, can be considered both the ending point and the starting point for the material. And for this reason, it is definitely necessary to increase their awareness through campaigns or marketing activities to educate them about the importance of reducing waste and recycling. As COOP, we have always played our pivotal role towards the upstream and downstream part of the supply chain by implementing action that could respond to our values to sustainability concerning the packaging and the production along the supply chain. Innovation and investment are necessary, and the possibility to rely on public funding to promote projects and their scalable implementation with a view to circularity could be, from our point of view, an important booster. For COOP, this palette, Noe Pallets, is a further project in which we have seen the innovation as a distinctive element and the starting point for true full circularity. And we are always available to help the supply chain and to play our role.
Thank you, Chiara. Yeah, great words to end this podcast on. And that brings us to the end of today's discussion. It was really great to gain insights into a true cross-value chain collaboration. And I'm hoping maybe some of our listeners feel inspired to maybe think a bit more broadly and maybe set up something similar themselves, or sort of, start thinking a bit more about how to collaborate. That would be a fantastic result, I think. So thank you very much, Chiara, Melissa, and Francesca, for being here today and for sharing your insights with me.
Thanks to
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you. You're welcome.
And as always at the end, just a quick reminder, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on any of the latest episodes. Thanks very much for listening. Goodbye.